All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for being on this morning. Today, we're going to talk about some simple steps to maximize your database. Pull more deals from your database utilizing KvCore, which is now called BoldTrail. It's going to take me a little bit to get used to that one. But welcome. Thanks, everybody, for being on. If you are on, drop a comment. Give me a comment. Let me know you're there. Looks like we got some comments here. Tim, yes, we see your comment, Tim. Yes, we do. Nettie, good morning. Shantae, good morning. Thanks everybody for being on. So we do have a connectivity issue with Facebook this morning. Facebook is really cracking down on sharing stuff into private groups. They're making it more and more difficult. It seems every couple of weeks something new pops up that we have to tweak. So we are not on Facebook Live right now. But in our group anyway. So I posted though, click the link. Thanks for being here, everybody. Welcome. So again, today we're going to talk about how to utilize any CRM for that matter, but the one we offer at NettWork Global is KvCore, now called BoldTrail. And I want to talk a little bit quickly about why we utilize KvCore or BoldTrail. Again, it's going to take me a little bit to catch up on the name change, but why it's important that we have people in our database. And so I'm sharing my screen here, and I'm just utilizing myself as an example as a contact. And keep in mind, I want you to remember this statistic that 10% of our database moves every year. So because 10% of our database is moving every year, that means if I just have 100 people in my database set up correctly, I could already have 10 transactions, potential transactions, just sitting in my database with just 100 people that I know. If I have 300 people in my database set up correctly, that's 30 transactions right there. Potential transactions. So 10% of our database is moving every year. So that's why it's so important that we have a system in place for how we're going to keep up with people. And it's important that we're using automation to kind of do some of the heavy lifting for us. So I want to dive in here and talk a little bit about, first thing, you want to make sure you have your name, client's name, phone number, email, and if you have their home address, put their home address in. Bare minimum, put the zip code of the area that they live in. But you want to make sure you have as complete contact information as possible: name, phone number, email. You can also go into profile details here. I'm going to click on profile details right here. And you can set things up as well, like home anniversary. You can set up home anniversary. Let me go to the edit. But I could sit here and set up a home anniversary for right here for when they closed on their house. And I can automatically have a text go out to them. I can send an anniversary email and text automatically from the system. So that's one simple touch right there per year, that if you close, you have a client, you close on the house, you put their date in. Let's just say they closed, what is today? Whatever the day is today. Just say on the 9th, they closed. And then I can set this up to where now automatically a home anniversary text and email will go out to that client. That's a simple touch right there. So that's under profile details. Now, another couple of things that take a little bit more skill, I suppose. That's an easy one, right? The next thing, though, so I would recommend every single person set up the anniversary text. Very easy in email. Super simple, super easy. You can even set it up to notify you, so that way you could call them as well. Hey, can you believe it's already been a year since you bought your home or you sold your home? How's everything been going? How are things? This or that. It's an easy touch. Now, the next thing I recommend is utilizing the search alert feature. So on the right-hand side over here, we've got the search alert feature. Now, generally, you would use the search alert to send clients properties as they become available. So this is generally used for when you're working with buyers. I have a buyer that's looking for homes in Chesterfield. I set them up on a search. Now, anytime a property goes active that matches our criteria, BoldTrail here automatically sends it out to the client. So generally, search alerts are used for buyers, but what I like to do as well is utilize this for my past clients and everybody in my SOI. So what I do is a simple thing. I'm going to go to search alert here, and I'm going to click add. And then from when I click add, I'm going to title my search alert whatever subdivision they live in. So again, I'm going to set this up for myself. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do homes for sale in villages. I can't spell, can't type either apparently. Villages of Bainbridge, something like that. So I'm going to type in their home, their subdivision that they live in homes for sale. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to frequency here and change it from once weekly to ASAP. That means anytime a new property hits the market in their subdivision where I'm going to set up the criteria, it's going to get sent to them immediately. So ASAP. And then I'm going to go to draw on map. Now I know this is a couple of steps, but once you do it a couple of times, this gets super easy. So I'm going to click draw on map. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the client's home address. That's why it's important to have their home address. I'm going to put their address in right here. And now you can see it does not give me like a little bullet point or a pin of where the property is, which is kind of annoying, but that's just the way this is. But if I click the plus button on the right-hand side, so I've typed their address in, my map did shift. I'm going to scroll, and let me pull myself up the screen to make it bigger. Let's see if that makes it bigger. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And it basically, like, here's the house right here. So because I see the street right here, the house is basically right here. So here's what I want to do now. I want to click draw area, and I'm going to draw. It's similar to the map feature on the MLS if you've used that. But I'm basically going to draw a little figure around the subdivision. Now there's nothing for sale in my subdivision at the moment, or there's nothing active. So I'm just going to stretch it out to the next subdivision just to give you an example of some properties for sale. Okay, so I just drew my figure or shape around. Now, generally my subdivision cuts off right here, but I'm pulling in this other subdivision as well just to show some active properties. But what I'm doing now is I've got my subdivision here, my shape around the subdivision. I'm going to click apply selection. I'm going to go down now. So I've got my map created. I'm going to go to single family, or if it's townhomes or multifamily, whatever it is, select the appropriate type of property. For this instance, single family. I'm not worried about anything else. I'm not worried about price range, anything like that, because I'm doing the shape around the subdivision. And I could also, I'm not worried about any of these buttons. So I'm leaving everything else blank. And now I'm going to set the alert. So I'm going to set my alert, and it has two properties for sale, basically. So what's going to happen now is two things. One, anytime a new property comes for sale in my shape that I drew, it's going to get emailed out to your client or past client or person in your database immediately. So why would we want to do this? Why do we want to send them properties in their area? Well, for the simple reason that people want to know what's going on in their neighborhood. They want to know what home values are in their neighborhood. They want to know what's available. They're driving by, they see a for sale sign. They're like, oh, so-and-so looks like they're selling the house. I wonder what they're going to be asking. Well, if I get this set up for every single person in my database, or at least every single past client and every single really strong SOI person in my database, what's going to happen now is they're going to say, oh yeah, Tim already sent me that property. It's for $550,000. It's got a 4-bed. It's really updated, this or that. And what it's doing is it's going to start positioning you as kind of the neighborhood expert in the opinion of your client, because you're not even doing it. You're allowing the system to do it. But this is going to start sending properties immediately as they go hit the market to your client for in their neighborhood. So it's going to start positioning you as the neighborhood expert. And then people do it. I have a question here. Do you have to select each seller in the subdivision? No, all you're doing is you're just taking whatever subdivision your client lives in, you're drawing a radius around that subdivision, and then, or a shape around that subdivision. And then these properties are going specifically to that client. So like an example here, I set this up for myself. So now anytime a property becomes available in that shape that I just drew, it's going to email me the property immediately. So in this instance, it's emailing it from me to me, right? But let's just say I had John Smith set up here. I would be sending properties. So he'd be like, oh, Michael just sent me that listing. It's down the street. It's on the market, or it's coming soon, or whatever it may be. So it's a simple way to set up and keep the properties in front of them. Now, what you could also do is when you first initially set this up, it shows I have two properties. You could email these to the client or text them as well. And you could, like, if I wanted to text, I could do this, and it drops in an auto thing with a link. But I could just be like, hey, John, just wanted to let you know there are, 2 new homes active in your subdivision. Just wanted to keep you up to date with everything going on in your area or in your subdivision. So I could text that to him and just quickly hit send, and then he can click this link and view the properties. Now, keep in mind as well, these properties tie back to your website. So what's happening is these emails get sent out, new property hits the market in the client subdivision or in your past client subdivision. They get the email, they see the property, they click on it, it takes them to your website. So it's also getting you more website traffic as well to your site. You can track that from your homepage on your website and see who's clicking on listings and who's looking at what. So I highly recommend this feature. And as you can see, it was pretty simple. I'm going to run through it one more time real quick. So all I did was, and I can also now see, look, I have a search alert set up, homes for sale in Villages of Bainbridge. So let's just say I wanted to do this again. I would just go to search alert. I title my search alert. I change my frequency to ASAP, meaning it's getting sent out immediately. I go to my view map and I click draw area. So I click draw area right here and I start drawing the area around the subdivision. I apply the selection. I type in single family, or if they live in a condo development, type condo, right? Pretty self-explanatory, whatever the listing type is. I'm not concerned about price at all because I want to send them specific, I'm drawing this search feature around their specific subdivision. So I want them to see everything in their subdivision, everything that's going on. So I'm not typing anything else in. I'm clicking save and view results or save and send. It's going to send them those properties. And now anytime a new property becomes available, it's getting sent out to that client immediately. So again, it's a simple feature to stay in front of your clients that positions you as a neighborhood expert, because now they're saying, Ronique sent me that property. Oh yeah, I just saw that one just hit the market. They're driving down the street. They see a sign. Shantae already sent me that. It's listed at 450, 500, 700, whatever it is. But again, it's you're staying top of mind as a real estate resource to your client, and you're sending them something of value. You're not sending them things that aren't like I always use the daylight savings. Every daylight savings, I get like 27 emails from lenders. Most of them are the same because there's like 15 of them are at the same company. Like my cell phone changes automatically. I don't need to be reminded about daylight savings, right? Like those are things that I consider not items of value. It's more of an annoyance. And that's why you see such a high unsubscribe rate. So with this, we're keeping them up to date with everything going on in their area. And people are always concerned or interested in knowing what's the value of their home or what are the value of homes in their area. Like I had one the other day that went in my subdivision that went under contract. It went for significantly more than any other home in there. That's something I would want to know. So that's why I consider this feature extremely effective. I highly recommend everybody utilize it. So if you have questions on that, drop it in the comments. The next one, and I'll come back and answer them. The next one I recommend everybody do is the market report. Let me delete this real quick. The market report, again, is very simple. So I'm going to click, I go to my market report here on the right-hand side. Everybody can see it, hopefully. I click add. I type in the zip code. I give it one moment, it spins, it populates zip 63368, which is the zip code for this contact. I click it. I'm going to send this every 28 days. So every 28 days, I want to send a market report to the client, meaning it's automatically being done. I click add. That's it. So that's it. That's all that I had to do. And it sends it automatically. So the market report is going out, or I can just click send now, which I would recommend. Market report sent successfully. So all I did was I click add. I type the zip code in. I wait for it to populate. I click it. I switch every 28 days and I save it. And that's it. And now you can see it's right here. This is what the market report looks like. So simple market report. Hey, Michael, dear Michael, here's a local update for 63368. It's simply showing me everything like homes for sale, 283 homes for sale in 63368 in the zip code I live in. It's down 2.4%. 68 homes new to the market. Days on market is 72% or 72 days. That's up 4%. Average home price, average sold price. Just a simple market report. Price reductions, 32, 30-day change. Price reductions are up 255% in the last 30 days. Stuff I would want to know. Average price per square foot. Can you text the market report as well? I don't believe so. Let me check on that. I don't know. I don't believe so, though. I think it's only via email, unfortunately. I'm almost 100% sure of that, Tim. It's only via email. But it's a nice thing that it's a set it and forget it. And what it was, that took me no time at all. So how long did that take? It took about 10 seconds to set up. I go to market report, I click add, I put the zip code in, I change it to 28 days, and it's set. And that's it. So now that market report's going out every 28 days to your client forever. So I think until you stop it or they unsubscribe. What's nice about the market report is that it has a very high open rate, meaning people open it. So when you go in, you're going to look here and you can see that people have opened it. This would be like blue and flipped open. So you can actually go back and look and see who's opening those and looking at them. But it has a very high open rate and it has a very low unsubscribe rate, meaning people aren't unsubscribing from it because, again, it's an item of value. So keep in mind now, this is one touch right here, the market report. That's once a month. That is a touch going out to them. My other search alert here, depending on how many homes sell in their neighborhood in a year, could be anywhere from 1 or none, potentially, if nothing sells in their neighborhood that year, to 20 or 30 touches right there. But again, it's an item of value touch. It's not like an annoyance touch. So right now, I'm really positioning myself by doing some simple steps here to keep my name in front of my database so that when they're thinking about buying or selling, they're thinking about calling me. Now, the last one here is what I call the listing valuation, or not I call it, it's called the listing valuation. So the listing valuation, all I'm going to do is, it's right here below the market report. I'm going to click add. I'm going to put the address in of the property, and I'm going to click save. So all I do is I type it in, it auto-fills typically as you're typing it. I'm going to click save. And right here, it gives me a valuation of the property. So I can click update and send, and it's going to email that out to the client. Now it says valuation is on the way, but you can see it gives you a listing valuation. Now people have asked me. So again, this is going to get sent out on a monthly basis. It's going to send them a market report with the valuation. So people say, well, do you want to send them a market report and the market report with the listing valuation? I say yes, because again, it's more information in front of them that's relevant. Now, the other question I get is, what if the price is way off? What if the price is way too low or way too high? And the client calls and says, hey, you sent me this report and I feel like my house is worth way more. Again, that's not a bad thing, because our whole goal in sending this is to get information in front of the client to engage response, or to engage like a reaction, or to get into some form of engagement with them. So if somebody calls me and they say, hey, you sent me that market report or that listing valuation, and I feel like my house is worth at least 50,000 more, 100,000 more, that's not a bad thing. Totally get it. No, I appreciate you taking a look at that. So this is how I would respond. Completely, totally appreciate you taking a look at that. And to be honest, that listing valuation that I send is an automated model, similar to, I'm sure you've heard of like Zillow's Zestimate. See, again, Zillow has never stepped foot in your home. The same with this valuation. This is an automated valuation based on the ebbs and flows of the market in your area, but they've never stepped foot in your home. So they really don't know what features and benefits your home has to offer. So here's what I'd love to do. I'd love to just stop by your house for 10 or 15 minutes. I can do a quick walkthrough and walk through the home through the eyes of a buyer. I'll put a market analysis together, and that way I can give you a really accurate indication of what we could sell your home for in the market today. Would you have some availability maybe later today or tomorrow for me to stop by for 10 or 15 minutes and we can put some numbers together? So there, even if they're not ready to sell. So even if they're not even thinking about selling right now, but I would go do that appointment, because again, I'm starting to solidify. People are like, oh, it's a waste of time. They're not going to sell for a year or 2 years or whatever. Doesn't matter. They're opening my market report. They're calling me on it. And now I get a chance to go get in front of this client again, or this person in my SOI, and speak to them about real estate. I get to go see their home in person. Maybe if I've never sold them a property before and they're just in my database as an SOI, that is a tentative, or it's a listing appointment in a sense. If nothing else, though, it's an appointment to get in front of them to strengthen my relationship with them. I'll go spend an hour or 2 hours prepping a market report, going to their house, driving there, spend 30 to 45 minutes with them, put a market, go through this. for the potential opportunity to list a property with them at some point in the future. Why not? Right? So again, the listing valuation is something that I highly recommend everybody get set up. So right there, that's 3 things we just did right there that can significantly help increase your business. It can significantly help get your name in front of more people in your database, because to be honest, we all know a lot of people, but we probably don't have all of those people in a system, in a database that we're consistently staying in front of, right? We might have thousands of Facebook friends or hundreds or thousands of people in our cell phone, but do they know we're in real estate? And do they know we can help them buy and sell real estate? And by doing these simple things, one, we're not going to let past clients fall through the cracks, because that happens a lot too. We have a fantastic opportunity or a fantastic transaction with the client. They love us. Everything was great. We don't follow up with them. 4 years goes by, 5 years goes by. We never keep in touch with them. We never send them anything. We never call them. And then what we see, all of a sudden they list their house with somebody else. And then we get offended, like, oh, why wouldn't they list with me? Because they probably haven't forgot who we were. You know, like, we're not top of mind with people. They're not like, oh my gosh, my realtor from 12 years ago that I haven't spoke to was the best, I need to call them. But it's our job to stay in front of people. It's the statistic, and I'm going to butcher it because I don't remember it ever, but it's like 87% of people say they would use their realtor again, and like 13% do, something to that effect. That's our fault. We're not staying in front of them. So if you work on getting your people in KvCore or BoldTrail now, get their name, phone number, email, and home address, get them set up with search alerts to go in front of their subdivision, set them up on a market report that's getting sent out every 28 days, set them up on a monthly valuation that would be sent out monthly, keeping them up to date on the value of their home. And then one other thing I would recommend, honestly, if you don't do anything else and you just do those 3 things, you will see an uptick in your business. Something else I would do though as well is I would add a task here. So I'm going to add a task to call these people. And basically what I would do is just say something like quarterly phone call. And I would set it for once a quarter. So I'm going to make a bunch of calls on the 31st at 9 a.m. And then I just add that task. Now on the 31st of July, that's going to prompt me on my dashboard to make a call to my client. So if you're thinking, what do I say to my client? You just say hello. We have scripts. Go to NettWorkGlobalAgents.com, download the script book. There's tons of SOI scripts in there. But don't overthink it, right? Like, you don't even need an agenda to this call. If you haven't talked to somebody, or the other thing is like, hey, I haven't talked to my clients in like 5 years. Well, if you haven't talked to a client in 5 years, you probably don't want to call them and ask them for business. Hey, I was just calling to see who you know that's thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate that I can help. It's kind of a strange call if you haven't talked to them in 5 years. I would call and say, hi. Hey, how's it going? It's been a while. I apologize. It's been about 5 years since I think we last spoke. I really apologize for not keeping in touch. Just wanted to check in. How's everything going? How's the house working out? How's the family? How's work? Right? Use the Ford scripts, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Ask those questions. What's going to happen is they're going to reciprocate at some point and say, yeah, everything's going great. How's real estate? You still in the market? You still in the business? You still in real estate? How's sales? How's the market? How's interest rates? They're going to start asking you real estate related questions. And so don't be afraid to call people that you haven't talked to in a long time, but don't call them and ask for anything. Like, don't call them if you haven't talked to them in years and ask them to help you, find clients. You can definitely ask them for clients if you do a good job of keeping in touch with them. But if you haven't talked to somebody in a long time, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, call them and check in, see how things are going. You can also call and say, hey, I've got this great system. Actually, I send out a monthly market update that keeps everybody up to date with what's going on in their area. Would you be offended if I email it to you on a monthly basis to keep you up to date on the market trends in your area? No, it sounds great. Fantastic. It looks like I've got you at Michael@NettWork Global as an email. Is that still a good email, or do you have a new email address? Nope, that's still the one. Perfect. I'll get you set up and get that sent out today. So again, simple touches, adding value, simple touches like offer the market report, simple things like that, offer them updates, offer them listing valuation, offer to set them up on a search basically, or to keep them up to date. Hey, and don't even offer it, just tell them. One of the great features I have now is I can actually keep you up to date with everything that's selling in your neighborhood as those homes come available. I'm going to go ahead and set you up so I can keep you up to date with everything going on in your subdivision. How does that sound? Sounds good. Fantastic. Right? If you know anyone thinking about buying or selling, feel free to give me a call. Things like that, guys. Like, don't overcomplicate this. Don't overthink it. A lot of this, though, is just staying in touch with your clients. But I firmly believe if you get your people set up with the 3 things we looked at today, it's going to help you a lot. It's going to give you a reason to call as well, because you can call them and say, hey, just wanted to check in. I send out a monthly market update. I just want to make sure you're receiving that. Now, you can look here and see if they've opened it. So you may know already, but it's still a good reason to call them. Or let's say you've been sending it for a month or 2 months and you see they haven't opened it. Maybe it's going to spam. It's a good reason to call them. Hey, just want to let you know, a couple of months ago, I started sending you a market update. I just want to make sure you've received that. I'm not sure if you have or not. No, if you don't mind, maybe check your spam. I'm going to go ahead and send it right now again. And just be on the lookout and do the, if it's going to your spam, just make sure you click the button to make sure it doesn't go to spam anymore. So again, keep in mind, question, can you show us once again how to text the search alert? Yes. So I go to my search alert right here, and let me click on this. So once I set my search alert up, it's going to give me results. So it's giving me like 2 results here. And all I do right here in the top right corner is click text results. So when I click text results, it types in an automated message right here. I think you might be interested in these listings. So you can change that, but don't delete the link, because this is the link they're going to click on to be able to view the properties. But you can delete this and just type anything else in. You know, hey Sue, you know, something like that. Here are 2 homes in your area, 2 homes in your subdivision on the market. Also, though, if you're sending this, if you're, you can utilize, again, this search feature is really built to send people properties that are actively looking for homes. So this is a great way too. You can set up a search alert for active buyers, and then you can look at the results and you can text them the properties. Hey, I just found this property. I think it might be a good fit for you. Take a look. Let me know what you think. So you can easily text them out from there as well. Then I would just click send, and that gets sent. So super simple from that aspect. Again, just email or text right here, and you can copy a link too. But again, what I like about utilizing these things is a couple of things. One, it's driving traffic and keeping people on my website and off sites like Zillow and Realtor.com and things like that, where then they can go click and then get positioned or pushed to the featured agent or the agent that's paying to be, you know, on that site. I want to keep people and clients on my website as much as possible and off third-party websites. So by utilizing this, and that's why people use the Maris search, which Maris, you know, you can set up Maris portals and all that. That totally works. That's fine. But then I find that when people want to go search for properties on their own as well, in addition to what they're seeing, they tend to go to like Zillow and stuff like that. So if I can keep them on my website, my personal website, and everybody on this call, everybody with NettWork Global, you have your own website. I'll show you where to find that. But keep them on there. So like click on your picture up here in the top right corner, and then this is your domain name for your website. Whoops. Oh, there it is. So there's my website right there, but I want to keep people on here as much as possible. So that way I can, oh wait, sorry, I just got, give me a second. There we go. So there's the website. So you keep people on the website. Now, so I want to keep people searching for properties on here as much as possible, because then from my BoldTrail as well, I can also basically, you know, see what who's logging in and who's looking at what. So I think, again, very important that we are utilizing that. And then let me go back real quick. Okay, so back here. So again, and keep people, and now also remember too, when I set up that task shows up here. So when I click on this profile, it's showing up here, but it's also on the 31st, the day I set it up for, of July, it's going to show up on my dashboard as well. So hope that was helpful. Again, just 3 simple things. We're going to be doing more stuff with BoldTrail here as we move forward over the next couple of weeks as well, because there's some other interesting things that I feel we can do from a social media perspective as well. So we're getting that on the calendar to start showing that. But I really challenge everybody, if you don't have people set up, and you feel like this could help, and it will help, I promise you. What's also going to happen is you're going to start getting clients and past clients and people in your database that are going to respond from the market report and the valuation, and they're going to say, hey, we're thinking about selling our house. Can you give me a call? So you'll start getting responses over time from these automated things going out from people that are thinking about selling or wanting to buy. So really important. 10% of the database moves every year. So let's just say right now you've got hundreds of people in an Excel spreadsheet, you're overwhelmed. I get it. What I would recommend is start today and set a number. How many are you going to add in your database today? 10 people, 5 people, 2 people, one person, whatever the number is, set it. If you add 10 people a day, say, and it might take you an hour to do it every day, but that's 5 hours this week. And by the end of the week, you're going to have 50 people in your database. It's a good start. By the end of next week, you have 100 people. Doesn't take that much, but so many people get overwhelmed with the amount of people. And they're like, I have, 1,000 people on this spreadsheet. Oh my gosh. Don't worry about it. Just take a number, a small number, 5 people a day, and do it every single day. Like I posted yesterday, consistency is the key to this. So if I can dedicate, say, 1 hour a day to my database, and if it maybe like people, we got people on call like Tim Kister, he's got his database dialed in. He has an excellent business from his database. So he may not need to add people into his database, but what Tim does is he time blocks every day to call his people. So if you've already got your database set up and it's working for you, keep the time block consistently of keeping in touch with your clients. But if you're starting from scratch or your database is a little hectic or chaotic, just set a number. Today, every single day, I'm going to do 5 people. Like 5 people is better than no people. So even if you're like, well, it'll take forever, I've got 1,000 people. Yeah, but it's, you've been looking at the database for how many months and haven't done anything with it. So take 5 people a day or 10 people a day and start today. Like make that a goal. Today, I'm going to do 10 people, get them in here, set up correctly, get their name, phone number, email. If I don't have their email, what a good opportunity to call. What a good opportunity to call them and just say, hey, I was just checking in, want to see how things are going. How's business? How's this or that? Hey, one of the things I'm doing is I've got this great feature that sets people up with a market report to keep them up to date with everything that's selling or the market trends of their area. I send that out via email. Would there be a good email address I could send that to? Right, pick up their email now. Now you've got their name, phone number, email, home address. So these are good reasons to call. And so I highly recommend start today though, as well. Don't be like, next week I'm going to get to this. Take 5 minutes today and do one, if nothing else. Get one person set up, set yourself up. I highly recommend that too. Get yourself set up with all of this as well, so you can see what your clients and past clients and SOI are going to be receiving. So that's all I've got for today. Hope it was helpful. Again, if you have questions, drop it in. Apologize for the Facebook thing, but we're going to drop a recording of this in Facebook so anybody can watch it later as well. But really appreciate you being on, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks so much, everybody.